YouTube. We are now live on the YouTube. Hey, already chapter 5. I wonder if anybody's really going to watch this. Increasing Life, Science of Getting Rich, chapter 5. You must get rid of the last vestige of the old idea, not ideas, the old idea that there's one deity, that there's a deity whose will it is that you should be poor and whose purposes may be served by keeping you in poverty. God's building me mansions in heaven. God loves you and wants you to live an abundant life. The intelligent substance, which is everything and lives in everything, lives in you, omnipotent intelligent substance. This is a consciously living substance. Hang out on that one for a while. The thinking stuff is a consciously living substance. Is that wrapped you up tighter than a... Think about that for a second. This thing between you and me, the thing that we put our thoughts into, the thing that the mastermind gets created from, is a living, conscious substance. Consciously living. So is it its own consciousness? Do we give it consciousness? Being a consciously living substance, it must have the nature and inherent desire of every living intelligence for the increase of life. Wait a minute. Back up, Skippy. What? Being a consciously living substance, it must have the natural and inherent desire of every living intelligence for the increase of life. Can you tell me something that when you at its genesis gets smaller? Can you think of something that from the moment of its conscious awareness, it gets smaller? Cancer gets bigger. Any challenges? Everything has an expansion in life. Everything. A seed dropped in the ground springs into activity. In the act of living, it produces 100 more seeds. Life, by living, multiplies itself. It is forever becoming more, and it must do so to continue to exist. So is this saying, hang on, is this saying that anything that exists in our life, anything that exists in our world is because we are giving it the continued essence of life? Yeah. Congratulations. Where you're at, it's your thought. Good thoughts, bad thoughts, happy thoughts, sad thoughts, cuckoo thoughts, not cuckoo thoughts. All of those, all of those, life by living, it multiplies itself. It is forever becoming more, and it must do so to continue to exist. Intelligence is under the same necessity for continuous increase. Intelligence. Every thought we think makes it necessary for us to think another thought. Every thought we think makes it necessary for us to think another thought. Consciousness is continually expanding. Every fact we learn leads us to the learning of another fact. Knowledge is continually increasing. Every talent we cultivate brings to mind the desire to cultivate another talent. We are subject to the urge of life. Wait a minute. If we're subject to the urge of life, then every living thing must continually seek for the enlargement of its life, because life, in the mere act of living it, must increase itself. So we are subject to the ever-increasing urge of life. How cool is that? In seeking expression for this urge, we are impelled to know more, to do more, to be more. In order to know more, do more, or be more, we must have more. We must have things to use because we learn and do and become only by using things. We must get rich so that we can live more. Let that settle in your soul for just a second. We must get rich to live more. How many of you today had a slight, or maybe larger than slight, or maybe a absolute awareness of the limitations of your life simply because of the exchange of currency that we currently use in this time and place on the planet, that you didn't have enough to go do what you wanted to go do? So wouldn't it make sense? This is the part I hope I really do. I hope I can get it across. The most important thing you can do at this moment is learn the rules to become rich. It must become the most paramount. Jim Rohn used to say, the two most important questions you could ever ask somebody. Have you found the thing? Have you found the thing that's going to take care of you and your family for the rest of your time? And if the answer is no to that, then you have to ask the second question. And the second question is are you spending enough time seeking the thing that'll take care of your family? And if the answers to both of those are no, you've got a serious uphill battle against you. You've got nobody on your sidelines cheering you on. Have you found it? And if you haven't, are you spending time looking? Because if you're not, number two would be the first place you would need to start until you find the thing that you know will take care of you. It is the desire, let's see here. The desire for riches is simply the capacity for larger life-seeking fulfillment. Every desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility to come into action. Every desire for riches is simply the capacity for larger life seeking fulfillment. Make sense? Every desire is the effort of an unexpressed possibility to come into action. Talk about creation, right? It is the power seeking to manifest which causes desire. That which makes you want more money is the same as that which makes the plant grow. In this, it is life seeking fuller expression. One living substance must be subject to this law for all of life. The one living substance must be subject to this law for all of life. It is permeated with the desire to live more. That is why it is under the necessity of creating things. Because this substance desires to live more in you, it wants you to have all the things you can use. Christina said this morning, she's got a 12-day trip to Italy. Is that not the expression for fuller life? Is she not going to be able to use every one of those examples? Simply the haven't even started packing yet. Maybe she has. It wouldn't surprise me if she started packing. She's that kind of a person. But the point is that the simple fact that she's been offered this has changed her life forever. The thinking substance says you are asking for more riches. And I'll give it to you. Was able to find the mute button just in time. The one living substance must be subject to this law for all of life. It is permeated with the desire to live more. That is why it is under the necessity of creating things, because this substance desires to live more in you. It wants you to have all the things you can use. It is the desire of God that you should get rich. He wants you to get rich because he can express himself better through you if you have plenty of things to give him expression. You think some of the football players, when they say thanks to God and they point up, do you think that's not influencing other people, giving more expression because they have the camera focused on them? I believe that everybody who does that does it for the good intention of their own soul, not for publicity. He wants you to be rich because you can express himself, because he can express himself better through you if you have plenty of things to use in giving him expression. He can live more in you if you have unlimited command of the means of life. The universe desires you to have everything you want to have. The universe desires you to have everything you want to have. Nature is friendly to your plan. Everything is naturally for you. Make up your mind that this is true. You know, it doesn't say any place in this book the secret to the science of getting rich will be listed 100 times or 50 times or how many times. It doesn't say that it'll be listed on every page. I know for myself, I see it on every page, and there's one of the lines right there. Make up your mind. It is essential, however, that your purpose should harmonize with the purpose that is in everything. We must move from the competitive world to the cooperative world, right? It says that in the mantra. You must want real life, not mere pleasure or sensual gratification. Life is the performance of function. Life is the performance of function. And the individual really lives only when he performs without excess every function. Individually really lives only when he performs without excess every function, physical, mental, and spiritual, of which he is capable. You do not want to get rich in order to live swinishly for the gratification of animal desires. That is not life. But the performance of every physical function is part of life, and no one lives completely who denies the impulses of the body a normal and healthful expression. You do not want to get rich solely for the to enjoy mental pleasures, to get knowledge, to gratify ambition, to outshine others, or to be famous. All these are a legitimate part of life. However, the person who only lives for the pleasures of the intellect alone will only have a partial life. He will never be satisfied with his lot. You do not get rich solely for the good of others, nor do you wish to lose yourself for the salvation of humanity, or to only experience the joys of philanthropy and sacrifice. The joys of the soul are only a part of life. There are no better or nobler. They are no better or nobler than any other part. You want to be rich so that you can eat, drink, and be merry when it's time to do these things. You want to be rich so that you may surround yourself with beautiful things. See distant lands. Dr. Freud of the lobby. I read it first as see a dentist. I'm like, what? Why would you put that in there? See distant lands. Feed your animals. Feed your animals. Feed your mind. Dr. Freud. You want to be rich so that you may surround yourself with beautiful things. See distant lands. Feed your mind. Develop your intellect. You want to be rich so that you may love people, to do kind things, and be able to play a good part in helping the world find truth. How cool is that? There's another line. So what do? I help those in the world who are seeking it to find their truth. Big shoulders. But remember that extreme altruism is no better and no nobler than extreme selfishness. Both are mistakes. Get rid of the idea that God wants you to sacrifice for others and that you can secure his favor by doing so. God requires nothing of the kind. What he wants is that you should make the most of yourself, for yourself, and for others. What he wants is that you should make the most of yourself, for yourself, and for others. And you can help others more by making the most of yourself than in any other way. Get rich first, right? Put the oxygen mask on first. You can make the most of yourself only by getting rich. Thus, it is right and praiseworthy that you should give your first and best thought to the work of acquiring wealth. Remember, however, that the desire for substance is for all. That the desire for substance is for all. Its movements must be for more life to all. It cannot be made to work for less life to any because it is seeking riches and life in everything and everyone. High tide rises all ships. The substance works for all. The intelligent substance will make things for you, but it will not take things away from someone else and give them to you. Jealousy, greed. You must get rid of the thought of competition. You are to create, not to compete for what is already created. You are to create, not to compete for what is already created. You are to create. You do not have to take anything away from anyone. You do not have to drive sharp bargains. You do not have to cheat or take advantage. You do not need to let a person work for you for less than he earns. You do not have to covet properties of others or to look at it in wishful eyes. Something we should tell the millennials, maybe. Somebody make a post. You shouldn't look at somebody else's wish with wishful eyes. No one has anything of which you cannot have the same. No one has anything which you cannot have the same. And you can have it without taking what he has away from him. You are to become a creator, not a competitor. You will become a creator by employing the higher faculties with which you have been endowed. Perception, reason, will, memory, imagination, and intuition. No other form of life was given these creative faculties. You are going to get what you want, but in such a way that when you get it, every other person will have more than he has now. That's kind of cool, huh? This is playing at 7 levels deep. Listen, none of what I have is new. It's got to be from someplace else, and this is kind of where it comes from, right? It comes from the Bible and this, and the way I heard people say it. There's nothing I got that's new. I just say the dang thing over and over and over and over and over. I'm aware that there are people who acquire a vast amount of money by proceeding in direct opposition to these directions in the preceding paragraph. Those of the plutocratic type, who become very rich, sometimes do so purely through their extraordinary ability on the plane of competition. However, sometimes, for example, in their contribution to the growth of industry, they unconsciously harmonize with the substance in its movement toward the betterment of humanity. Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Morgan, etc., have been unconscious agents of the supreme power, and that's a pretty big call out. Right? Rockefeller, Morgan, and Carnegie. Carnegie was what Hill's book was built on, right? Have been the unconscious agents. And I guess they were unconscious. Carnegie said, we got to go figure out this rule. Got to go interview 500 people, figure out what it is. So they were unconscious competence of the supreme power and the necessary work of systematizing and organizing productive industry. Their work has contributed immensely toward increased life for all. They helped to organize production and were soon succeeded by the agents of the multitude who organized the machinery of distribution. The multimillionaires are like the monster reptiles of the prehistoric eras. They play a necessary part of the evolutionary process, but the same power which produced them will dispose of them. And it is well to bear in mind that they have never been really rich. A record of the private lives of most of this class will show you that they have really been the most abject and wretched of the poor. Riches secured on the competition plane are never satisfactory nor permanent. And they are yours today. There are yours today Now, they are yours today and another's tomorrow. Remember, if you are to become rich in a scientific and certain way, you must raise entirely out of the competitive thought. You must never think for a moment that the supply is limited. You drop into a competitive mind the moment you begin to think that all the money is being cornered and controlled by bankers and others, that you must exert yourself to get the laws passed to stop this process. Your power to cause creation will temporarily disappear, and what is worse, you will probably arrest the creative movements that are already instituted. Know that there are countless millions of dollars worth of undiscovered gold in the mountains of the earth. Know that if there were not, more would be created from the thinking substance to supply your needs. Know the money you need will come, even if it is necessary for 1,000 people to be led to the discovery of new gold mines tomorrow. Never look at the visible supply. Always look at the limitless riches in the formless substance, and know that they are coming to you as fast as you can receive them and use them. Definite major purpose. It's got to know what you're going to do with this stuff. It nudges you and says, you asked for it, here's a huge nugget, go do something with it. And you're like, I don't know what to do with it. You've got to know what to do with the intelligence and the formless, and are you ready for the love? All of those things. Nobody, by cornering the visible supply, can prevent you from getting what is yours. Never allow yourself to think for an instant that all the best building spots will be taken before you get ready to build your house. Never worry about the trusts or the combines and get anxious for fear that they will soon come to own the whole earth. Never get afraid that you will lose what you want to become, that you want, because some other person beats you to it. That cannot possibly happen. You are not seeking anything that is possessed by anybody else. You are not seeking anything that is possessed by anybody else. You are causing what you want to be created from the formless substance, and the supply is limitless. Live by this absolute truth. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A substance, a thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon the formless substance can cause the thing he or she thinks about to be created. Prove God wants you to be rich. Why is it essential that your purpose should harmonize with the purpose of the supreme power? What is the purpose of the supreme power? Why can you help others more by making the most of yourself than in any other way? What's the difference between creation and competition? Why don't riches gained on the competitive plane cause happiness? And how are you to keep from falling into the competitive mind? An educated person is a person who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they can acquire anything they want or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Napoleon Hill. Thoughts, comments, takeaways, lessons. What'd you learn? What'd you like?
What I liked was that every thought is expressed. So mind my thoughts.
Yeah, I was feeling I got up and did some things this morning. I was probably a 7 out of 10, and just had to get engaged. I went out, played with Gizmo. He and I sat and we chatted for a while, and Nola came over, and then I went to the wood yard to get some wood. Wasn't sure if it fit all this stuff, but everything worked perfectly. Everything worked perfectly. I noticed halfway through the day that my tooth, the soreness and the gums that was up here went away. Then no cold. I'm drinking ice water right now on a chipped tooth, cracked tooth. That would normally send you in a little tizzy. I don't know. Last night I told it to heal. I doubt it healed, but I know something that maybe I was able to turn that nerve off. I don't know. It's kind of cool. But yes, every thought, Sharon, every thought.
I had an interesting day because this morning started out really awesome. And I called Polly to acknowledge her and thank her for taking care of herself. So because she got herself a ride to the doctor and all of this today. She needs a shot. She hasn't walked for weeks. And when I called, it was like, oh, I'm so glad you called. I fell down in the bathtub. And the EMTs were on the way and this whole big thing. And that she's been waiting for weeks for this appointment that she was going to. So I went over and I got her, whisked her to the appointment myself because obviously she couldn't use her public. And we get there and there's this woman who had broken her knee skiing and was hobbling along with a walker, and hopping on one leg. And she was so beautiful and so cheerful and so positive. It lit up the whole room. It was so awesome to see this young woman and her choice to be happy. And it completely changed my state. And then I surrendered. I just got home a couple of minutes before this. It was like I did not have the day I had planned, but I did not trash myself for the day. So I did as good a job as I could do. But that woman, that was what I really wanted to tell you about. So it was awesome.
I love it. And that's somebody whose personal reality, her personality makes up her personal reality.
Oh, she was awesome. She was just, yeah. And she's looking forward to skiing again. And
and she'll do it.
Oh yeah.
That's the cool thing. I love it, love it, love it.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways?
I like that we're forever expanding and increasing our consciousness and our thoughts. And
yeah, I mean, if we look at life as increasing, doesn't it then offer the chance that if it's always going to be increasing, we get to decide where the manure goes? What we want it to grow, what we want to fertilize? I can tell you, the funny thing is I can tell you where the chicken coop has been when we move it around on the property. I can tell you where it's been. Because the grass is growing green. There it is. We're scraping the chicken poop off the door and this, that, or the other, and getting some out of the hens' boxes and when we change the straw out. It looks messy, and the ground goes, yummy, yummy in my tummy. It's awesome. If I could come up with a gun, that would it probably would sell. That'd be the crazy thing. Because sheep put out little berries like bunnies, rabbits. Imagine if you load that up in the gun and you crazier things have been made lots of money, right? So we were a little worried about Lily the other day. She was kind of just standing off by herself. And when we say not eating, she might have missed a meal, but they get fed pretty good around here. But seems to be all happy and back and all that good stuff. So that was kind of cool. They're interested in their little sheep condos. That's getting more. I'll show you pictures. I'll put them in the chat. Who else? Thoughts, comments on the increasing life? How would you know the sheep are pregnant? If you just showed up and I didn't tell you anything about the sheep, would you know they're pregnant? You just go, you got some fat sheep, right? How many of us are fat with the ideas that we have and people are going, you just got a fat head, right? I want to have a fat head. I want to be so pregnant with ideas that somebody looks at me and goes, oh, do your feet hurt? right? You wouldn't know the sheep are pregnant. But then you say, oh, well, they're pregnant. Oh, well, that explains it. Oh, okay. When are they due? See, everybody knows the gestation period on a particular animal, 165 days to 195 days for our Shetland sheep. So that's why we went off the outhouse preparation and onto the sheep condo preparation. So the point is that this ever-increasing life is always increasing. What seeds did you plant today? Scott Schilling said one time, and I think it's so very true, everything you did today will manifest in 90 days. Everything you did today will manifest in 90 days. The good, the bad, the ugly, the outstanding, the incredible, the not so incredible, the didn't do anything, did a whole bunch of things. All of it will show up 60, 90 days from now. You've just planted the seeds today. Every time I build something here on the ranch, I get better. I don't think this thing will blow over in a windstorm. Where other things I've built, I would have been a little worried. So it's kind of cool. Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions on the increasing life?
Well, I highlighted, I circled, I squared, I starred the statement, make up your mind that this is true.
Isn't that, I mean, it's such a line of demarcation, a line in the sand to draw the finish line behind you. And here's the fun thing, I promise you. Once you make up that mind, not when you kind of sort of maybe, so, I'll do it for a day, I'll try it. It's when you make it up. Mark said on our call one day, stop drinking Diet Cokes. I said, okay. That was 2.5 years ago. I've had probably in total 6 Cokes, 6 Diet Cokes, or maybe a Coke because it was in a drink of rum and Coke. But I go to, what's a great buy if you're looking for great buys? A 32-ounce large McDonald's water cup. They use reverse osmosis. It's good, clean water, and they charge you 39 cents. 32 ounces in the gas station across the street, $2.09. So now, if you have the discipline to just order the water, which I do, I just get the water, and then I like the cup. McDonald's has the best straws. You drink 28 to 30% more water with a straw than you do out of a cup. So there you go. All the funless facts from Sean. What else about look at your lives are increasing tremendously. Look at all of the unbelievable, not necessarily useful information that you got. What else? Anybody working on a project they need help with that you're working on a target, you're hitting a target to get your 3,000. Some of you have already cleared that hurdle. But what do we got to do to what's a business model? What's something you got to work on? What's an objection you're getting? What's a fear that you're facing?
My company has completely changed, and I'm in a little bit of a wait and see mode.
Yep.
And
so go build the community.
Right. So what I'm doing is building my AI capacity and stuff like that. I'm working with something called My Genius Leads.
Right, but go talk to your team.
Yeah, and talking to the team little by little.
I talk to them a lot by a lot. You've been through this rodeo a dozen times. Some of them, it's their first time. Some of them, it's their second time, and they swore they never do it after the first time. and they're having stories, and they're on another call that you're not on, like this one, talking about how crappy the company is. Go talk to your team. Ask them, what was the dream that you had? Say, listen, part of my responsibility as a upline and as a team member and as a sponsor, and maybe I didn't know it, but I need to know what your dream is so that I can continue to work on it. Is the dream still valid? As many times as people went to jail in Latin America for Truvi, products stolen and delays and launches never happened because product got stuck in it. Whenever the fire would start, the second time the fire started, my team knew what to do. Kayla, Roberto, Jose, all of the people, Ignacio, they all knew what to do. What's the goal you have? And have you achieved it yet? Nope. Are we a team still that could work with you and serve you on it? Yes. Doesn't matter what the fire is. Because I told them going in, I said, there's going to be fire and hell and damnation, and you're going to wish life was easier. So if you're not ready for that, don't get started, because that'll be about 2 years out. The easy stuff. So I would go have a, yeah, but the company, no, I know, but your dream. What can we do for your dream? What is that? Is there, what other things can we do? What is it that you truly, truly want? And in that, you'll find some amazing solutions. So that'd be my suggestion. And I only speak.
As you say that, a lot of what I've been doing is creating the space for no matter what, my dream's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, but I haven't, and like my friend Chuck, we're on the phone today, I said, I just keep thinking all this manure here, there's got to be a pony in here. Somebody said, exactly my thoughts. So I have some people who are in that mode with, but there, and the ones that aren't, I'm being with them, but it's, yeah, there's Sean, there's something about thinking I had a certain amount of certainty. And at 78 years old, it would be so nice to have that.
Yes, it would be nice, and it is possible, but you're the only thing that's certain.
That's true.
You're the only thing that's certain. And it's nice to have other things. But it's you've got to take care of your dreams, and you've got to make sure that you're helping people take care of their dreams, because otherwise then your dream gets sidetracked when you got to go take care of theirs.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, work on your team. Start teaching the lessons. What's the lessons? At what point was there an indicator? At what point was there a clue? And at what point was there a reality of this transition as the company transitioned? What was the first indicator going, that's, that could, if that has another dot, oh, there's the next dot. Connect the dots backwards. And you could write a book on teaching how to make sure that you know how to look for the dots before you have to connect them.
Well, when something is as bold and outrageous as what somebody's doing, you can go all the way back to the beginning, because it was bold and outrageous, and sure. I haven't given up on the dream. I think it's still there.
Oh no, yeah, and it could work.
Yeah, I just want the income to go with it.
Right.
The way I'm looking at the new pay plan, it looks like I get 1,000 customers, I'll make $300. I don't think that's a pay plan. So I'm obviously not looking at the pay plan correctly.
That would be that's indentured servitude. So 1700s again. That's awesome.
But I know that's not true. I just know that I just don't understand it well enough yet.
You might not be that far off.
and then we go dance somewhere else.
Yep.
So, and I gather you've gone through that yourself.
I've done that once or twice. I only do it once. I've done it twice, but I won't ever do it again because I know the questions to ask. I know the things to look for. I know it's never the product, it's the people. Right? Things start to get out of whack, and when you start to you got to connect the dots, play it 7 levels deep in all areas, and you realize there's a huge hole on level 3 that that can't be fixed. So that's why we're reading chapter 5, Increasing Life.
I know, I love it. It was like, oh, this is like, thank you, God.
Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways, take with yous?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So when we first signed up for the ranch,